off coffee, but I guess according to Arno, I'm 1 minute late here. Well, not too many people have been waiting, though Arno for sure has been. Good. What is it, afternoon there in Europe, Arno? And how are you doing? I yes, definitely. Yes, good. I have decided to play more Hoi 4 World Ablaze instead of doing a long thing on Ukraine. I was considering it, but not enough has changed really, I think, to make it um, interesting enough to do so. But I think maybe, I don't know if Arno would think this is a good idea or not, to do sort of like a couple times a week, try to keep it to, no, I don't know, less than 20 minutes, sort of an update of my thoughts on what's going on. Not live, but just make a short episode or something like that. I'm doing very good indeed. For someone who's watching, I was going to say the world burned down, but I don't know that the world's burning down. I don't know. I think what we, I know there's not many people here yet, but there will be some people watching this a bit later, and we'll get into World Ablaze soon. And I know a lot of you are, I know Arno's old enough, but hello, Mazazan, how you doing, HL? Um, Many of you are younger and don't remember the Cold War. I remember the Cold War very clearly, and just in minor peripheral ways involved in the politics and activism and whatnot to do with the Cold War. So um, don't want to make it sound like anything important. Nothing important, but little bits of stuff going on there. I think, and we used to be, and they only really use the term third world. I know you're all familiar with the third world. Hey, Sir Toyjet, I am doing well. I hope you're doing good. Thank you for all your support, Toyjet. Yeah, the third world. Why do you have the point the third world? And sometimes people try to call it the I'm doing well. The developing world, which in some cases it is, in some cases it's not. But the term comes from is that there was the first world and the second world, and then the third world. The first world was the West, NATO, but it included things like Japan and Australia and New Zealand, which were not strictly part of NATO. The second world was basically the Warsaw Pact. It was considered the second world. The third world was more or less everything else, just to sort of give you a currently do some to you. Okay, cool. Working on a model. It's been years since I've actually worked on models, but they're cool. And other than the, shall we say, and still to this day, lingering breakup of Yugoslavia, we still don't know what to call this. Is this, I think it's still officially in the UN or something, the former Republic of Yugoslavia, Macedonia or something like that, because Greece objects to it because they consider this as like here Central Macedonia. So and what's going on with Kosovo and Montenegro, and I don't quite know I used to be up on it, but what's left of the sort of, shall we say, rump Serb empire, um, that was just seen as a little bit of a, breaking up of a minor empire here. They used to talk about this and call it the end of history, and not that the end of the world. And this is how people at times mistake terminologies, but the end of history here, and because nothing more big historical are going to happen. Most people are doing right now. Why not just talk about Ukraine like most people are doing right now? Hello, Rommel Productions. Well, I don't know if enough changed since my last talk, and like I was saying to Arno before you got here, I presume. Arno is the moderator here, and he's just trying to be welcoming. Rommel Productions. Sorry if he's offended you by claiming friendship. Some cultures it's very common to call people friends on first meeting. So sorry if that's bad, but he's doing his job. I don't know if there's enough change to talk about because it's a mess, and I'm sort of talking about it peripherally. That there was going to be no more big historical things. That was over, the end of history, and it was just going to be, peaceful. Well, I think Ukraine is waking everybody up. Hey, Daniel. And it's terrible what is going on in Ukraine, and I don't want to make it sound anything but that. But I actually think the wake-up call element is beneficial. I think, and I get reports from people, including people like Toyjet, about what's going on in their countries and their politicians, and talking about rearmament or not rearmament and things like that. And I still don't think it's the lessons have come home yet. That the world is a fucking dangerous place, and peace is the abnormality, not the normality. And so I guess I'll reiterate this. What I think I'm going to do, instead of talking about Ukraine today here, and I don't really have anything properly prepared for it. What I'm thinking I'm going to do is do a maybe twice weekly, try to keep it to under 20 minutes per, but you know how I like to go on about things. Sort of update of my thoughts, because right now I would say the Ukrainians are winning the war. The Ukrainians are currently, not that they've won the war, God no, I don't know who's going to win the war, but to the best of my knowledge, none of the initial objectives for within the first 4 days, which I think included Kiev, Kharkov, and which I don't think is on this map. Why not? I don't know. Mariupol were to be taken in the first 4 days, and none of those have been taken. So I would see that as a victory, and to a point, victory for Ukraine is simply surviving. Victory for Ukraine is surviving. Victory is not, marching Ukrainian soldiers marching into Moscow or anything like that. It's just surviving. So that's just sort of my quick thoughts on it. All right. Let's get into. So I'm sorry if anybody's disappointed and wanted a more detailed talk on it. I don't know if you guys know about the. I forget what port it was in. I think maybe over around here. the Russian ship that was sunk a few days ago by the Ukrainians, and other things. There's some minor interesting stuff, but no major developments in that one. Right. Okay. Let's start making an episode here. Yeah, a lot of things to do, and I'm learning more and more about the mod here, what we're doing. So we'll continue that. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here, and I really hope all of you out there watching are safe and sound. I want to thank everyone who's either joining me now live or will be joining me or watching this later as an episode on YouTube. Thank you so much, and we're going to get into this now. Quite honestly, I have not been playing the game well. Comes from, I would say, a lack of experience with it, I think, would be a good term. But I think we're going to go over to Secret Police for Poland. Hey, Ari, good to have you here from your lunch break. Now, I did sort of I play a little bit, and we could recruit an operative. Okay. I think we'll just go with Otto Scorzini here. And we're going to put you root out resistance here. No, here. Let's. Oh, do I need to stop that? Oh. I don't want you. I want you down here. Why are you not? What am I doing wrong? Yeah, here. Oh, maybe I just didn't click the right area. Let's slow up here. Control Alt click. Okay. Down there and root out resistance down there. Yes. Okay. There we go. Well, I'm sorry your back is broken, or you're feeling that way. I doubt it is, or you wouldn't be wandering around. Okay. What we would like to do here, I think, is try to incentivize Bulgarian involvement. Do that. We want Bulgaria to get involved in the Second World War. We're going to plan an invasion over to here. We gotta specify first where we're going from, right here to then over to here, so that we can invade there. I started to read Lost Victories. I'm about 30 pages in, which include all the intro stuff, just saying the setting, yeah, just everything. Well, good. I hope it's enjoyable for you. I know I recommended it, so I do hope something that I recommend is enjoyable. All right, well, let's look and see what do we need. Well, we could use some heavy AA. Well, we can use more trucks too. So let's see, do we have any heavy AA in production? It does. not look like it. Got railway guns in production. Oh no, we do. Okay, so let's add a few factories of that. And we're keeping older rifles in production. But let's see about going with better artillery and aid. Surprised me so far is the fact that everyone thought Hitler wouldn't go to war and start two-front war, and then like overnight they assembled an army at the Polish border. Yeah, Poland, the Polish campaign was a very, very hurried endeavor. It was scraping up units wherever they sort of could for the invasion. Realizing that they weren't going to, or they didn't want to, you know, produce defenses along the west wall and such like that. So you can't just like grab everybody. You know, I've talked about this before, but the well, during the lead up to getting the Sudetenland, Germany was training infiltrators, shall we call them, that were getting military training, Sudeten Germans. And they were sort of setting up what is commonly called in Germany Freikorps, to do that, sort of military units that were made up of people that could be identified as being Sudeten Germans and not German soldiers, but giving them military training, trying to give them some sort of guerrilla training. And they did do some actions, and part of what it wasn't, I don't think, really thought that they were going to be needed for the invasion of Czechoslovakia as much as they were trying to stir up trouble in Czechoslovakia so that then the Czechs would be heavy-handed against the German-speaking people of the region to then give Hitler an excuse to invade. Well, a lot of these men, once the Sudetenland and then the rest of Czechoslovakia get organized into the Reich, join the SA. And so now you have, unlike a lot of other parts of the SA, actually an SA element that was trained, and not just trained as squads and companies, and armed with light weapons, and they were immediately available, and that was the only real time that I know of that the SA was used, and in small amounts. We're talking in low thousands, if even 2 or more thousand, I don't know, that were actively used as part of combat soldiers invading Poland. So they were just sort of like anybody get going, and they didn't want to give it time for the world to react to the Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact and how that might change things. They wanted this to go quickly. So yeah. Hello, John. How you doing? I'm not sure what Italy's going to do versus Yugoslavia right now. They are sort of a bit, involved here in taking out Greece. So one of the things I'm working towards is getting that somewhat these are the weak ones, I think. Yeah. Somewhat border manned there in case we see a German or an Italian invasion and need to help react with that. And I think that's also something of a lesson for a lot of modern day people in how What's happened with Ukraine? You know, no one thought, no, there is not going to be an invasion. No, of course not. Putin wouldn't do that. Of course he wouldn't do that, would he? Man, if he's going to invade, it'll just be the Donbass region. He wouldn't invade, you know, Kiev. And, you know, so, yeah, expectations don't always become what is real. Right, okay, let's get this army here. Here we go. We're going to move you, well, for the moment here, because I think we can supply it there. But we've got troops up here. Okay, that's fine. Now these guys here, we're going to send them down here for the first. Who should we give these tanks to? We already have Rommel running around in the desert. Okay, chat. Should we go von Manstein? Give him the tanks. Reinhardt here, he's an armored officer, or Papa Hoth? Anyone have any preferences out there in chat? Let me know. We'll give you a minute. Papa Hoth? Okay, that's one vote for Papa Hoth. Looks like Papa Hoth it is. We'll give you all of would be typical given the book, yeah. I mean, in a way that he would be the sort of expected. Okay, so now we have Papa Hoth here. Forces. Been asked to do a Operation Sea Lion, and so I'm moving all these forces this way. So let's the armor maybe. Okay, well, let's move them to Brussels for the moment. Get them over in the theater. Now we also need to, let's take a look at the air, because I think, yeah, I thought this was going to be the case. Lines here, let's, okay. We got, well, we got a bunch of fighters. I don't know if it's in the terms of plenty, but we'll put that squadron up, going after both. This sort of squadron here, just after fighters to hopefully win the fighter battle. We could maybe use some more. Oh, we got too many here. Let's move you over to near Paris, and let's have you go up over Ile-de-France. Okay, oh, we need to. Okay, if we were to hold the Versailles Avenge speech, yeah, more stability, which we are very stable right now. And maybe a bit. Do we need war support? Well, we'll still do this, and we'll form the SS divisions. Now, one thing I do want to do here is let's come over to the cavalry brigade and let's duplicate this as we should have down here copy. Let's edit this and we can occupy. Occupy brigade. We'll call it that. And yeah, we'll just rename that. And I want to make it smaller. I want to train a bunch of them. Location over here. And add a bunch of these. Okay, yeah, one. Okay, well, we're still fighting in Greece, still fighting in North Africa. Hello, Lolly. I'm gonna Ebera Mifar. Sorry, I'm butchering that. I'm sure I don't mean to, but okay. Let's see. You know what we can do here is we could sing here. Well, first let's see. Okay, airbase. Let's create a 110 unit to operate down here, and we can operate over the Aegean, going after aircraft. Let's see. We have let's do 30 Condors. Come down and operate over the Aegean. And maybe we will. I think that's good enough for them. I want to get Crete so I can put some more air power over this area without putting them into this area to suck up supplies. Okay, good. Kingdom of Greece has capitulated. Very nice. Okay, yes, we do. On here, so you come via ship there. Let's see what we can do here. Let's. them down here and yeah, well, first it would be Cyprus. Landing in Cyprus, I think, before going to Syria. Or no. Though that is not a bad idea here. Okay, well. Below the rails, land near Cairo. Well, I don't know if we have enough information. I think landing back here would be better. Maybe not Syria, but way back here and getting a port. That would be that's my strategy. Not that the others wouldn't work. But okay, now what do we say? That's 6, 10 divisions. Let's see about planning a naval invasion from here to Portsmouth. There we go. Now, we're just getting that sort of in the planning phase. Get those units over there. I don't know if we're going to do. Syria has a port, but right now, oh, well, okay, yeah, it's... I don't know that I want to go to war with Vichy France right now. That's sort of what that would mean, and the French state. So I don't want to go to war with Vichy France right now. I mean, we might at some point. So that's why I'm picking down here. Okay. These guys. Yeah, Ari, that's what I'm thinking is land here, secure the port, and push west. Yeah, if it wasn't Vichy, yeah, no, you have a very... It would be easier to get into Beirut. That would be a better thing, in my opinion, but... incentivize Bulgaria. Yeah, let's... 8 days, so it's going to be longer than that to... considerably longer than that to prepare the invasion itself. For 90 days, though. I don't know. Hello, Charmander. How you doing? Go for the Atlantic Wall just in case? Maybe. Well, because we also have here Prepare Barbarossa, which is only 7 days. Eastern Lebensraum. Unlocks decision. Activate Barbarossa. For research. Yeah, I don't. I do want to do that too. We have about these. Okay, let's grab you and send you. I know there's a port up there. Let's go guard the port. You know, I know people want me to go after Barbarossa, the historical time. Well, let's save this here. That. Okay, so we can come back to it if we're going to go with Barbarossa. Let's this here. Let's head towards prepare sea lion here. Holland. Okay, well that would current war fatigue, yeah, is 45, or economic fatigue, I should say. I'm sorry it exists. Well, we could do this for 60 days. Factory output, that will help with fatigue. We're here. Wood. Come on, go. 7 days. Okay. Still, we're going a bit slow. Let's. Yeah, I agree. There should have been a massive war support when taking out France. Historically, that was the big thing. What is our current bombing? I know is hurting war support, so that is not good. Trying with a bombing situation here. Let's put you guys up there. Oh, too many here. You can go to there. Go. Enemy agent turned. We have a double agent now, do we? Okay. God, I haven't been. Really doing. How is our resistance? It's probably still quite high. Yeah, he's just getting to work. Okay. Garrison divisions are cavalry divisions right now. They're these guys here, the cavalry brigades. They look like that. That's currently what they are. And yes, any advice, because I've not really played World Ablaze in its recent or current incarnation enough to really know the game well. I wish this just gave me real counters, proper counters. That's all of you guys. No. These things up a little better. Okay, Powerless. We're gonna give Powerless. Okay, we've invaded Samos, and now let's come over to there and try to mop up the last of Greek resistance here. Yeah, maybe from Athens, that might work. Let's send you guys down to Athens. You go to Athens. Best to max width so you use less support equipment. Soviet operative captured, how interesting. Best to make it max width so you use less support. Don't necessarily understand that in the context of occupation garrison. Sorry, I mean I understand the 30 division or the 30 width combat width is optimum here, but I'm not getting how that works with for occupation troops. Sorry. Venezuela embargoes us. Oh, lovely. Okay, let's look at our current trading situation. Okay, we could use some more tungsten. Yeah, let's see about getting it from Portugal. Rubber. Okay, well here, yeah, let's just deal with that, and let's also get what we can from the French state to help us out there. Okay, we've got one more. So much of this is damaged. Oh god, I don't even hardly know where to begin. Let's do some of the stuff that... Oh, I should be holding this down. The garrison divisions use manpower, which uses support equipment. By making divisions bigger, you need less of them to garrison, thus using less support equipment. Okay. Okay. I see what you're talking about. Good. And so, and sorry if I don't, I've been playing mostly Hoi 3 recently. So the number of divisions required for this is based on the manpower strength, I guess, and not on, I'm guessing, and not on the number of units you need. Okay. All right. We should do a few more secret polices at least. Okay. Let's do secret police. Okay, MP plus mil police. Okay, based on the suppression the division has. Okay. Is there a... no MP here. Do we have other MPs? Oh, I keep clicking. No, we don't have other... military police units here. Okay, back. The support company. Okay, Mill Police is support company only. Okay, so there isn't like other games or mods. I know just the support element. Well, I think I'm gonna... just don't know how much manpower I want to suck into all this, but I don't know. That'll go to a little better combat with... we got horse-drawn logistics and military police, so we'll save that. Hopefully that will reduce down. An armored car with the cheaper option being cavalry. Okay, good to know. Well, we're getting more of these back into function. Still not enough rubber. So that was... okay, how are we doing for tanks? Support tanks. Tanks, medium tanks. Okay, we can use some more medium tanks. Let's go 5 here. Yeah, and I don't know how much presuming, maybe I shouldn't, but let's see, does armored car use rubber? Yep, 2 rubber. Ooh, yeah, I can't afford rubber for more armored cars than I'm already doing. Okay, let's come convoy rating down here with this group. Use the same amount of manpower if you just make the divisions bigger because you'll use less of them, but you use less divisions. Okay. Oh, Iraq. Which we can invite to our faction. All right. Okay, so now we have Iraq in our faction. Let's yeah, let's do this. let's send down some older fighters. Give them some air support down here, because that we can do. Taking out a Greek. Pause. Okay. Right. Good. Yeah, we're doing. I think they're overdoing this SS Armory rivalry thing. I really do think they're overdoing it. Let's put you guys on the train. Slightly more angry, Yeah, like I say, I think it's overdone. From all of, it was a thing, yes. Okay, we have gone down. Okay, so we'll see about doing some more of that. Picking out a few convoys there. Yes, you're calling in all the people to go to war with Iraq. I get it. Oh, even more. Yeah, okay, I get it. I really honestly do get it that you're sending in people to do that. Okay, we're preparing Sea Lion. Oh, yeah, yes, I get it. I get it. You don't have to keep telling me every 5 seconds. Hello, Moonday. How you doing? How's your day going? We're not going towards Barbarossa with this later because we're looking towards Britain. It's going to take a while to organize that up. Do that. Organize up here, and I don't think we can afford to have 30 days out of the, okay. No, I don't speak any Russian yet. Sorry. Basically, it's English only for me. I'm an American. We don't do well with other languages. Okay, you guys. Okay, let's take you three, because I don't think we need a huge amount of divisions. Let's go from here to here. Okay, plan that invasion. Oh, I'm from California, out here in Los Angeles area. Agents, I don't know if they're all wandering around and Scorzini is getting them or what. Well, let's look at our resistance map here. I think it's gone down a bit there. What is our current economic fatigue? Okay. Yes. USA, Los Angeles area, yes. I only know of one California. There might be more. Assembly line productions, but yeah. I figure most people who are at least on the internet, I know there's like people living in Ethiopia may not know where California is, but I figure most people would know where California is. Maybe that's just my arrogance, but well, you know, I've never played GTA, any of them. Because, hey, if I wanted to, I can just walk out of my house and go steal a car and drive it around LA. I don't have to do it on a video game. I can just go do it. So it's never, you know. It's been a long time since I've been in a car chase in LA. Now, I didn't steal a car, but I've been in a car chase or two. That's been a while. So yeah, no, I live it. I live it for real life. I don't need to play it on the computer. I got enough stuff I play on the computer. Okay. Let's do landing craft. Invasion time preparation. That would be good. Time for Falkwolf. Yeah, we're not going down Falkwolf too much. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've been in a few. Not many. None with the police. Either in either end of the police, but I have been in some car chases. Many years ago now, one night I was driving through an industrial area. I don't want to give too much. Driving through an industrial area of Los Angeles, and I saw a pickup truck run a red light and smash into a motorcyclist. Well, he lost his foot. I don't know if they reattached it or not, but and there were a couple of cars stopped to help the motorcyclist. So I chased the pickup truck who he took off and was hit and run. I chased the pickup truck for a few miles at night and got his driver's license number. And went back after because I wasn't like trying to capture him, but I wanted to get his driver's license number because this happened a block or more in front of me, and I come up to it and see him on, the motorcyclist down and severed leg, and other cars that were in front of me had already stopped. So I didn't think I was going to materially help at that point. And this was in the days before there was huge numbers of cell phones, and I didn't have a cell phone or anything to like call the police or the ambulance at that point. So I took off in my car because the pickup truck had already sped away. So yeah, I was on a from Tallinn. Cool. Up here in Estonia. Yes, I know where Tallinn is. Right up here. I'm pretty good with geography, at least for an American. I'm pretty good. Not a superhero, no. So I did a car chase, and it was through an industrial, running red lights and all kinds of stuff. Completely illegal. And I'm sure it's beyond any statute of limitations because it's more than 20 years ago. So yeah, no, I was on a full-fledged, full-out car chase through it, and yeah, running red lights, and yeah, I could have caused another accident just like the one I saw, but fortunately I did not, and got close enough, and the guy knew I was chasing him because he was running away very much and trying to. But I got close enough to him, got his driver's license number down, went back and gave it to the police. Once they were already at the scene of the accident by the time I got back. Yeah, let's come down. Yeah, I guess we'll come all the way over there. So yeah, no, I've been in car chases. So yeah, I don't need to play GTA to do a car chase in LA. I can just go do it. Okay, guys. Well, we're going to keep the live stream going, but this will be the end of this episode. For those watching later on YouTube, I want to thank you so much. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, including those of you live on YouTube. You can hit the like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Love to see you around here more often. Thanks so much. See you next time for, yes, even more Hearts of Iron. Yeah, don't worry, guys. We're going to keep this going here. I just want to chop these up in episodes. I don't know any more than that. Just gave them the license plate number of the pickup truck. It was an old beat up sort of whitish pickup truck, and just gave them over the license plate number. So I presume, I presume it wasn't a stolen pickup truck. So I presume they knew, who was it? Oh no, I'm not offended at all. Not at all. It's sort of like another friend who's around here, Eric. He plays, what is it, horseshoes and hand grenades, in which you virtually shoot firearms, and he finds it quite fun. And I would just rather go shoot firearms because it's something I do. So yeah, certain things like that I just don't find interesting enough, because doing them virtually in games. Why was the Italian military useless in World War II? That's a good question. We'll talk about that at this next episode coming up here. But yeah, no, not offended at all. It's actually sort of, I'm sort of old, guys, so it's hard to offend me. I mean, really, like, I'm offended. I mean, that's all you youngsters get offended. I don't. So, yeah. Okay, let's make another episode. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here, playing Hearts of Iron 4's World Ablaze mod, which radically changes what's going on with Hearts of Iron. So I'm not 100% up sold. Napoleon looks young. Well, Napoleon's long dead. Okay, yes, our Sir Toyjet's offended now, of course, yes. So, I just offended all the youngsters out there. And John asked a very good question. Why was the Italian military useless in World War II? British operative capture. We're getting a lot of operatives. Well, there's a lot of reasons. The biggest reason was leadership of the Italian army itself. I would have to say. Its military leadership was the biggest reason. The second, and I can elaborate more here in a moment on all these points, the second important reason is sort of this: the poor industrial capacity of Italy compared to France, compared to Britain, compared to Germany, let alone the Soviet Union, USA, which are, bigger and huger industrial powers. But it was more industrialized than Spain, for sure. But I would say probably, I'm not even sure whether the industry of Czechoslovakia might have been bigger. You probably go out and, numbers of rifles produced, capabilities, and numbers of trucks, because you have, you have Onsando and Fiat and whoever in Italy producing tanks and trucks. Yeah, Italy has larger industry, as in more of it, but I would say as a percentage of the population, how industrialized the country is, meaning you can have a small, highly industrialized country, but might have less industry than a larger unindustrialized country, if you know what I mean. Like Belgium might be considered a relatively highly industrialized country for it, but Romania might be able to produce more of it, but it's a bigger country just because of it. But like a percentage of industrialization, or however you want to put it. But in that sense, and as percentage industrialization, and I do realize like Slovakia wasn't terribly industrialized, still isn't. But as a percent, I would go with Czechoslovakia is more industrialized, though there is probably more industry in Italy just because it is a bigger country. And then third is, where do I want to come over here? Is probably this, which isn't, I don't know if we're reflected well, but the poor design, out of date design of Italian equipment. The only thing that I can think of design-wise that was up to world standards, that was produced in large amounts. I'm not talking some prototype here or there, point me at. The only thing that was really for the Army, I'm not talking about the Air Force or the Navy, but for the Army, because those are different. Air Force and Navy are two different elements. The only thing I would say that Italy was up on, sort of world class on, up at the top, was submachine guns and pistols. Those are both coming out of Beretta. The designs. And even the pistols are underpowered. I mean, they're good, but at best you're really going with a 380, or as you Europeans would call it, 9mm Browning or 9mm Kurtz, depending on the terms, but those are all the same caliber. Now the Beretta submachine gun was 9mm Parabellum. Everything else, a lot of, shall we say, first rate, if you will, or first line, or whatever, Italian divisions were equipped with not World War I, designs of artillery, but actual leftover World War I guns, because they're just that out of date and cannot produce enough. So that is more to the lack of industry as opposed to the lack of designs. And I could go on, and I know there is a rant if you want to look at in my back catalog, in which I go on to the rant about the Breda machine gun here. Not a submachine gun, the Breda machine gun. Just shortly, not only is it internally designed very poorly, function, how the mechanisms function, it has a fixed, meaning unremovable, box magazine that can hold 20 rounds. And so you have 20 rounds, you get to shoot 20 rounds out of the machine gun, and then you get to get 4 stripper clips and reload that same box magazine. You can't even have somebody sitting next to you with another box magazine loading it while you shoot to hand it over like you can with a Bren gun or something like that. It was fixed to the gun. So I cannot... and it was also unreliable, as in jamming. So the only thing I said, talking the other day on the Slytherin stream, the only thing I can think of worse, to actually design a worse machine gun, was to design a machine gun that you singly load each bullet one at a time. So we're talking something slower and worse than an American Civil War era Gatling gun, or the sort of French gun from the Franco-Prussian Wars that was a big sort of volley gun. Those will shoot faster and more reliably. They're just big honking things, they're not light machine guns, would be more reliable and more functional than a Breda light machine gun. And the Ravelli machine gun relied upon, because of whether it's manufacturing design or manufacturing qualities, to be able to have the internal workings of the Ravelli. That's the sort of medium or heavy machine gun that the Italians used, the belt-fed one, water-cooled in World War I. It relied upon the rounds, the link belt rounds, to be lubricated as they go into the gun to keep the gun functioning. If you didn't have the bullets lubricated as they were going into function, the gun would not be able to function, because because guns get hot, metal expands, so more wear and tear on that. So what they had was a little oil reservoir that you would have to keep full, and then a brush that the oil would slowly drip down the brush, and as the belt gets, you're not seeing my hands, I know, but as you can sort of picture it, as the belts feed the ammunition into the gun, it sort of coats it with oil as it's coming in to keep the gun functioning. Now, can you imagine when you're talking about shooting in an environment where you're having like talcum powder type sand, super fine grained sand, and you're oiling the bullets as they go into the gun? How? No, the show shot was better. The show shot, however you want to say it, better than the Breda. Because the magazines, you could change them. And they held more rounds. And they're probably more reliable. At least when new, because I know Forgotten Arms did the joint thing with C and Arsenal. Maybe 100-year-old show that's been fired a hell of a lot may not be terribly reliable, but right out of the warehouse, right out of the or factory production, the show I think would be more reliable than the Breda, and better. The Breda might be more comfortable to shoot, just because you're jamming that thing into your cheek on the show to be able to look down the sights, if you're even planning on looking down the sights. So might be just more comfortable to shoot the Breda. But so the Ravelli, their sort of heavy machine gun, that's just not a way to go. The Breda 30, yeah. So it sucks. So and it's not just, we can look at the tanks, we can look at the trucks, the artillery, and we were, and I think the question was specifically by John about the Italian army. Hello, Star Street, good to have you here. Yes, thanks for the thumbs up. So, he said military, because I would say the Italian Air Force wasn't quite useless, but mostly playing catch up to better aircraft models. They didn't suck, but they were just never quite good as the newest versions of the enemy aircraft. But never enough of them. That goes back to industrial capacity. The Italian Navy was, of the three services, was the most modern and rather good, but you can look at like excuses like, oh well, they didn't have a large stock of fuel oil for the ships, so they couldn't patrol very much, so they stayed in port a lot. Yeah, that is true. They were concerned. They did not have large fuel supplies for the Italian Navy. Very true. They were concerned about consuming the Navy, the fuel up. So even so they didn't want to even just say spew power around the Adriatic or something as in training operations. They would train in harbor. How to load and not actually fire live rounds, but load and dummy rounds and do naval training within the harbor, not burning up fuel. So they definitely kept them in ports more than most nations. Now, to the point, Germany's doing that too, because it doesn't have enough fuel either. But really, I would say they were afraid of losing the Italian Navy because they knew they couldn't build another one, and they would not sally out with their navy against, unless they identified at the time it would have been British or very early on in French, but unless they identified a weaker British fleet unit that they could get. So if they were unsure about the nature of the British whatever fleet operations were going on at the time, or if they saw like if it was equal, oh, they've got 3 battleships, well, we have 3, yep, no, we aren't going out. They've got 1, we've got 3, we'll go out, but we ain't going out on equal terms. So unless they knew they had an overwhelming advantage, they weren't willing to go out and use it. And I don't really think it was a cowardice situation from a captain or the sailors on the ship. I think they were reasonably competently trained and reasonably competent at doing their jobs, the Navy, but I think it was cowardice from the political and naval high command, in the cowardice not of dying or whatever, because they wouldn't have been the ones, but just over losing the ships. And then by the time you get the Americans in the war, what's the point? If you sail your ships out, you're going to probably lose them because of air power, because of naval power, because like surface fleet or submarines. You're probably going to lose them. So why use them? What do you benefit? Once you get really the Americans are operating, invading Sicily and whatnot. Once you get them in there, what objective you get? It's sort of like towards the end of World War I, the Kaiser orders the German High Seas Fleet to sally forth out to attack the British fleet at the end of the war, and there's a mutiny in the German fleet. Is why the fuck are we going to go die? We're not going to serve it, the glory of the Kriegsmarine as it goes off to die to battle the German or the British Navy, and even if you sink a bunch of the British Navy and make them pay for their victory, because you just sunk some of their battleships, and even if you sunk one battleship for every one of Germany lost, it wasn't going to change the outcome of the war, and everyone knew it, and including guys, it was just sort of like a revenge or honor assault, and the fleet goes, we don't need to die, because where they fought very, very bravely and very, very effectively, at the Battle of Jutland, to the point there, I would say, and I think most naval historians would agree, because that's where I'm getting this from, it was a tactical German victory, meaning they do more damage to the British fleet than the German fleet, but a strategic British fleet, because Britain does well enough that the German High Seas Fleet never comes back out in any sort of strength ever again. So they achieve the goal of protecting trade and whatnot by keeping the German High Seas Fleet in. So I hope that sort of answers some of your questions. The Carcanos weren't bad though. No, they were bad. You have to look at either particularly what they were facing, the opposition, or looking at other known stuff. Somewhat underpowered, the Carcanos. functional bolt actions, but you can say that about like the Mosin-Nagants kind of thing. But when you're comparing them up against, say, the Enfield rifle, no, I'm going to take an Enfield rifle. Got 10 round magazine capacity. Even if you're going to compare it against a Mauser or a Springfield, a 30-06 bolt action rifle, yeah, I'm going to take those others over a Carcano. Sort of a weak 6.5 millimeter round. I mean, it's not a tragedy of a gun like their machine guns were, but it's not a good gun either, really, in my opinion. Not when you can look around and see, yeah, it's better than the old Lebel rifle of France, but the new MAS 36, I would say, is better. All the Mauser designs, I would say, is better. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not what I would call good. So those are my sort of reasons why. And fourth, I would say, because first is very poor leadership on the command level, including the NCO level. It's NCOs, it's officers, poor leadership there. 1, 2. Industrial capacity, not enough of it, industrial capacity. 3, the actual designs of a lot of their important weapon systems. And 4, a lack of Italian unity. We can see a significant lack of German unity up until the taking of Paris, for sure. Then we see German unity really, really coming in. Italy, not all Italians were fascist. The army itself was a royalist institution, not a fascist institution. Mussolini tries to sort of stiffen it because he's afraid that the army is not... he doesn't have enough fighting spirit, shall we say, so he adds fascist units to a lot of divisions. But a lot of the soldiers, they're not against the idea of, a new Italian empire. And I'm trying to be careful of what I say here. I'm not going to say that there's some sort of, strong anti-war feeling or anything like that, or, a strong, they were quite willing to go to war so long as that war wasn't too difficult. And so long as they weren't going to have to die in that war, might be the thing. Meaning that I don't see, and maybe somebody can point to things that show different tale, but it's like, oh hey, yeah, go fight in Ethiopia, no problem. Hey, yeah, let's go fight the Greeks. Yeah, oh wait a minute, you mean we got to go charge up this side of this mountain and there's going to be a lot of people dying? No thank you. So they, it's willing to sort of do their national duty, but they didn't want to die for it. They didn't have that sort of ideological, and I don't necessarily mean like fascism versus communism ideology, but even national ideology. They didn't see, because, hey, Italy does great out of World War I, gets a lot of extra territory, including like, roads and places like that, as getting Trieste and all these regions. So Italy's doing great. So they don't have a revenge. They were on the winning side in World War I. So they don't have a revenge motive. They don't feel like they're fighting for national survival, because again, this may be entirely coming from a Western viewpoint. an American one too, which has a lot of Italian Americans, and a lot of contact with Italy. I don't see the Italians thinking that an American victory means like the end of Italy as they know it, if you know what I mean. Where the Nazis, oh well, we aren't going to get to keep being Nazis afterwards, or a lot of the Russians, hey, if the Germans win, yeah, we ain't gonna still be Russians, let alone Bolsheviks after a German conquest, because Germany very well may erase Russia from the map. I don't see, and if they even thought about it, the Italian standard, Italian officer or Italian soldier, yeah, okay, they may lose, possessions like, Rhodes or Ethiopia or Libya, but it's still basically what they really see as Italy was still going to be theirs. And so it wasn't like why die to defend who? Mussolini? So I see that as sort of the fourth reason. There wasn't this morale, this overwhelming need to fight in the war, even with unconditional surrender. The unconditional surrender definitely. I don't remember if that was the Tehran conference or the Casablanca conference. I think it was the Casablanca conference that the joint statement out was that they required a unconditional surrender. Meaning no negotiations. That probably didn't keep the Germans fighting anymore. Do this. Longer, but it definitely kept the Japanese fighting longer and harder. At least that would be my estimation of things. Operative captured. Oh, how much longer till we get to? Oh, maybe just talk about. Okay. Okay, 13 of 28 days. Okay, good. And this is. Talking 47 days out. Okay, finish researching that. Let's see, what decisions should we be making? We open trade with Sweden. Okay, that looks like a good one. 21 days. So far, our line is holding, though we have supply problems out here in the desert, which presumably the other side's having as well. We'll get that to Okay, here's an interesting one. I don't know if any of you want to chime in on this. Other than what you would call the major powers of World War II, what minor nation contributed to, whether not necessarily contributed to the war effort of their side, because it could be an Axis minor nation, significantly? You know, that not just that they like put a lot of men into the field or something, but actually, because they were in it, significantly helped out their side. Could be for the Allies side, or could be for the Axis side. What do any of you have and a reason why that particularly helped out the side, and why? I would love to hear some of your ideas on that. Advanced industry, good. Well, okay, so we'll take some divisions. Nationalist Spain. Where are they? Oh, they're actually okay. They're sending this way. Okay, 41. So let's see. We can do efficiency growth, or let's do the fast one first. Industrial capacity up. In Germany, kind of thing first. Saarland, yes. Eastern Rhineland. Caring about bunkers. Okay. Let's see, can we put into the sky more fighters effectively? Okay, yes, it looks like it. No one wants to play the game of what minor might have contributed significantly to their side of the war effort. Okay. Hoping for some nice audience participation. Not even from you, Arno? You don't have a good suggestion? Well, I don't have, no, it isn't a win. I don't know. I'm just, what do you think? What do you know? Well, Axis or Allies, Starstreak, what nation do you think materially, significantly, and why, of a minor nation really helped in the war effort for their side, and why? I don't have like this is like a right answer. Was it Romania? No, just what do you guys think? Why, because sort of from John's question, and I could sort of agree, it might have been better for Germany if Italy stayed neutral, to not go into the war. But even for the Allies, what, that was a benefit, having them in, and why, for the Axis or the Allies, minor nation. that they contributed to the, you know, significantly to the war effort somehow, whether it would be a geographical position, I don't know, or production capabilities, or because, you know, you look at it, yeah, one of the divisions invading D-Day was Canadian, but Canada really, because they don't draft anybody to go overseas, so there's not a large ground contingent. Their production is quite honestly minor. Yeah, they provide a lot of food for Britain, and their you know, their biggest effort, in my opinion, is their sort of small ship navy that's helping with the Atlantic convoys. But Canada doesn't do a whole lot for Allied victory, in my opinion. Not that it doesn't do its part, but it doesn't. If it wasn't there, other than sort of industrially or, you know, particularly with food, if it wasn't there, nobody would miss it. You know, it's not like that. The Dutch for the Allies, because they kept fighting with the submarines and DDs and some cruisers, and even with the Air Force. Okay, I hear you, Arno. Yeah, well, like all Allied nations on either side contribute to their side, absolutely. But what I'm sort of looking for is something that, did that change an outcome of a battle? Did that, you know, was that enough that somehow that changes the outcome of the battle? Because I know they do fight obviously down here, but, you know, I don't know. That's, you know, what I'm sort of wondering, how much do these minor nations really contribute to the, you know, the access of the Allies, other than just, yes, more manpower, some more ships, certainly, you know. Okay, very successful, your submarines. Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about Dutch submarines in World War II. Okay, good. We've got, now that we have Bulgaria in, which the main reason I want Bulgaria in is not because like they're going to contribute much to victory or loss, but the way the AI works is Romania is no longer garrisoning the Bulgarian border, so they're either garrisoning out here or along there. We even managed several German U-boats. Well, cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, we can stop all of this because I think we have enough. Deal now. Okay, we got Swedish trade opened up. Okay, so we got, oh, and we got more modern tanks. Where are they up here? Oh, there they go. Okay, they're actually moving off. Okay, good. Now let's update our production. I haven't updated the light tanks because they're light tanks. I don't really know that they're going to be overly effective. Anyway, just I think it's more the idea of more than. Okay, let's see. So now we are actually down a little bit. Right, okay. But I don't want to, if I can, I want to Well, we have a bunch of iron. We're importing it. We're importing it. So, oh, we're getting Swedish. Oh, we couldn't get Swedish. Okay. Let's stop all of that. Let's come over here to see if we can increase our steel mills. There we go. Well, no, I'm definitely keeping that in mind, but, well, maybe next time we get a free slot, we have a 50% research speed bonus. Maybe we're not gonna do the Porsche thingy. We're gonna do the Henschel design. So maybe sometime soon. Be like, I actually think for Germany as well, having Turkey stay neutral, unlike the First World War, helps it out because it closes off the southern front. Yeah, I know it does join the Allies like in 1945 or something like that, but basically it's neutral through the war. Had it like, hey, yeah, we want to get back our, Ottoman Empire territories and push down in here. Oh, this has gone free France. Ooh, I didn't realize this has gone free France. Okay. Can we... I think we can. Let's see it. Yeah. Will it go? He's pilot promoted. The naval control. Well, looks like nobody's really overly doing much. I think we've gone through enough days. Okay, we need 50%, so we don't have enough naval supremacy here. So, well, let's come over with our little navy here and add to here. There we go. So we may just go after Beirut instead now that it's free French. Because if Turkey came in, I think they would need a lot of industrial support, because they don't even really make much of their own ammunition. So need a lot of industrial support from Germany, like it did in World War I, and when the fronts, particularly in the southern front, but also in the eastern front of Turkey, start to falter, they're going to need a lot of German support. Okay, let's move all of you guys over to here. How is our current? We are still looking at, this is the playthrough plan for, okay, we need better supremacy. We got enough days. So, well, we're going to have to come back and do that next time. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron. And don't worry, guys, we're going to continue with the live stream here. I'm just breaking this stuff up for the... I don't want to save game. For later, putting on those who aren't watching this. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4's World Ablaze mod. We are going to be trying Sea Lion, Seelau. I think that's how you pronounce it in German. We're going to see if we can invade jolly old England. I absolutely have no airborne forces, so that is a little bit of a problem. First, before I do that, I want to come over here and unblock that. No, let's go access level, right? And we're going to patrol English Channel. And okay, this is probably, well, good thing I made a save just before this, because we very much may be coming back. And means I know they're not there yet, but let's see what we can do here. Okay, just 10 condors. Well, 10 condors are better than no condors. These guys will go after aircraft and shipping. Just go after anything out there. And we have these patrol craft, so we're going to send you down to Paris and then operate you out over there. Now, here to Normandy, operate you over the channel. Hello, Plastic Gangsta. How you doing today? You made it in time to see if we can do a sea lion. You guys here are going to come up, and you're also going to patrol the English map. Yeah, I know the English have been mining it. I think those are English mines. Those portraits in this game does look great, doesn't it? Yeah, the portraits are... The pictures of the people are fine. I am a wannabe uniform collector, and particularly when I look at things like Rommel here. Let's see, can we get him bigger now? Well, maybe when we scroll down here. Rommel here, I just see that how wrong this uniform is. Most of the German generals' caps, are not all freaking gold. They're a mixture of gold and silver. Okay. Some are all gold, but that is more of the exception than the rule. And like that is a pre-war eagle and set up there. Not a war eagle. And like with Rommel, I see why does he have his shirt collar open? He wouldn't have his shirt collar open. And you're going to point, well, here's a bunch of pictures, Gamer, with his shirt collar open. Yes, with his tropical uniform, but only with his tropical uniform. When he was wearing his, field gray uniform, like inspecting the Atlantic Wall, he, of course, has it all buttoned up like everybody else because he dresses appropriately. So for a, for a uniform or want to be a uniform collector, I see all the mistakes here, and these are just big glaring ones. But yeah, it's a pretty, because some of these are done by Paradox, like Deedle here is not. That's a mod contributed one that fits, where Papa Hoth is from. I think Papa Hoth is. I know Kruger here done from Paradox, and they started out wanting to do all the damn SS stuff in gold. And oh yeah, I'm going to take claim. Yeah, I'm the one that at least got Kruger's having it all silver, and also getting them to do the because there's, I don't know if we see him here, but there's another. I think it's Hausa. Is done in army green, not field grau, not the SS gray, and gold and whatnot. But yeah, yeah, for that, I mean, they look nice, but for sort of a collector, they're just hey, Extreme Finger, how you doing? Good to have you here. Plus the red flash on most of them would be general staff officers. Well, no. Okay. Yeah. I mean, we can see modal here. I don't know who is what. Some of these portraits, like Keitel, that would be a field marshal's, which is actually longer than a general's. So it's sort of a complicated thing. I don't know. And there would not be all this gold also on. It would be silver for the, at least a lot of this would be silver, especially sort of the national, the wreath around the national symbol here, which the sort of wings would be silver for the Luftwaffe. It might be having little gold metal things, but on a different background color. Yeah, it's Peter von Bach, defo von Bach. Yeah, where is here? Yeah. So yeah, and Keitel, they've done a decent job, but it's a little overdone with the gold. Yeah, modal. There's Palace. Yeah, we have von Palace here. Is this? Yeah, there's Palace. Because he's already assigned here. Yeah, there's Palace, Kuchler, Lieb, Papa Hoth. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible, but I really chided them, and they never really paid too much of attention back when I'm spilling the beans from my time in the Paradox beta test forum. I go, look, it takes me 30 seconds to type in one of these generals' names and then color or something and pop up with a period, not a colorized, but a period color photo of them that you could just sample all the stuff and do it right. But no, they wouldn't even take the time to do that. So, well, they're taking, well, a lot of these, I think, are photos that have run through a sort of portrait version of it, or something that makes it like painting. Oh well, yeah, I know, but why not do it correct? God. Well, let's change this to avoid, but I've assigned some fleets here. Hopefully that will stop some of this damn supplies going through here. Okay, can we invade now? Don't have 50% naval supremacy yet. Sent down a bunch of aircraft. This whole just a little bit more. Gonna win the war. Okay, we got the air battle here. Do we have any fleet left? lost 7 submarines, lost a submarine. I don't know that, or I think we may go back and, yeah, look, we've lost one of these. Not that one. Not that one. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to achieve a sea lion here. No, this is the sea lion episode, but we've been losing a lot of air. Well, a lot of air. Come on. Will you just give me the same thing over and over again? This battle... Okay, well, it's the battle on the 14th, 1941. We lost a battleship, 4 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, 11 destroyers, 20 convoys. Yeah. I don't think Sea Lion is going to pull off here. Guys, I really don't think so. Well, I had a plan. I have a preparation for that. Yeah, hello, Suitor. Yeah, the Kriegsmarine went down. That was the bulk of it. I mean, it wasn't I didn't put every last little thing, and there was still these guys, and yeah, there was still these guys over here that I could have, but that's just Schleswig, Holstein, and the Schlesien. I mean, you know, these old coastal battleships probably wouldn't have changed much of the outcome here. Okay, let's see. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, okay, we did take out 2 destroyers and a frigate in that operation, and 40 swordfish. Yeah. Yeah, no, what we're going to do here is try more aircraft above the channel. Even we've lost the fleet. It just went down, Arno. It just went down. Yeah, missed a chunky naval battle. We didn't see it live here. Okay, we're going to go back to decide here. And we're going to decide to, yeah, Sea Lion, the Kriegsmarine ended up on the bottom of the channel. And I have no airborne forces, so we can't do a parachute invasion and then try to dash over. So, Sea Lion is off. I forget who it was. One of the viewers, hi, whoever you were, I'm sorry, I forgot, wanted to have me try to do a Sea Lion. And that was quite honestly why I wasn't planning on this. Don't mess with the Brits. No, plastic gangster. See, I'm planning on conquering London. Now, whether we get to that point in this playthrough or I lose, they may update the game enough that my saves are bad and we got to start something else again, or 2, I may just lose. I'm not saying I'm going to win, but my plan is to conquer London through the indirect approach. See, I'm a Sun Tzu kind of person. I believe that the direct approach is almost always the bad approach. So we are not going to go with hello, Hollow Charmander. I'll just call you Hollow, I guess. Okay, good to have you back here. So it's the way to get there is indirectly. So what we're going to do is, instead of doing Sea Lion, because this is the Sea Lion episode and we failed, so we're going to trash the plans here. We're going to grab all of von Lieb's army. And you see what I mean here by we need to get Bulgaria having fun with us, so put Romania on our onto a more important front. We're going to send you down. We'll send you to Bucharest, and then from there send you in different directions. So, yes. Let's go. Let's get all of Guderian's forces, and we're going to send them over. Yeah, I guess we'll go sort of Army Group North, Army Group Central towards Moscow. What happened to my... Oh, okay, we're still waiting for these guys to come. Didn't know how far back I went. Well, I have not declared war on Yugoslavia. Italy has not declared war on Yugoslavia. Should we declare war on Yugoslavia or not? I don't know. Like I was talking about, is it better to not declare war on them? Are they going to give us enough benefit that makes it worth declaring war on them? I don't know. Okay, so we're not doing that. We are going to prepare Barbarossa. Let's prepare 7 days. Prepare Barbarossa. Still just April, so it's not too late to do Barbarossa. But I don't know if we have enough forces to do it. Okay, Papa Haas. Forces, let's move them here. You get more resources and remove a possible front for the Allies to invade you from. Well, but are the Allies going to invade us from there? See, they're not like going to invade us through Turkey, so I don't need to worry about Turkey. I also think what we're going to have to do is you're going to need all these guys on the eastern front here. Trains. Well, let's move it to on trains, yes. That will leave somewhat skeletal forces here in the west, I know. Well, let's take a look, because I may need to trade for some more chromium. Well, almost enough chromium. What I need more is tungsten. Now let's get that from Portugal. And here, let's... Oh, we went back in time, so I have to redo some things that I had already done. Just because, and if you watched the earlier episode, I specifically made a timeline split back here to try a sea line. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Reopen trade with Sweden. Okay, I think it is down here too. In 50 days. I think we'll just reopen trade with Sweden instead. Hello, Stalin. Killed a few million people today yet? Okay, we're gonna move one of these out of the Harv and over. None of it. Make sure at least we're holding the ports.
Angetreten.
A few more days. Okay, so these guys all have to come over here because we still want to push. We're still using elements of Rommel's force to push in the Middle East. Preparing Barbarossa, good. 42 days, yes. And do that. Okay, a little better balanced.
Achtung!
Let's delete those orders and send them marching up down. Still Vichy. I haven't taken out that yet. Okay. Move these guys to Rommel. These two divisions. We're going to plan invasion there to here. Does this still have special rules about yes. Hello, Suitor. Yeah. That's one of my grievances here because we're at 46% economic fatigue. There are a few things I could do to make it less. I think this is overdone for the time scale. I think they're watching too much TIK or TIC or however you want to say them. Although I generally agree with, I think he takes it a bit too extreme. I generally agree that capitalism is the best way to organize up an economy. Free market capitalism, meaning capitalism that then goes from a free market to then a monopoly, whether it's a monopoly like in oil or a monopoly on the internet or a monopoly. That's no longer free market. That whether the monopoly is a government monopoly or a privately held monopoly, any company that is definitely getting over 60% of the market is a problem, and it's becoming not good. But I generally speaking believe market economics are the best way to organize up an economy, and there are a lot of inefficiencies in the way National Socialist Germany organizes up their economy. There definitely is. But that's different than the economic fatigue, in my opinion, here. And I think the economic fatigue here is happening too fast. That's 40% of a possible 100%. Now, if it was something like 10 or 20% now, 1941 May, maybe, but, and because, and we're not even historically yet to, totaler Krieg, Goebbels, what was it, 42? That he declares, total war in the indoor stadium in Berlin, and gets, Speer in charge of it. So Germany is still at this point trying to run a civilian economy. Now it's regulated. There's a lot of rationing going on, including like for cloth. Whether you buy it as a suit or a dress, or you're just buying a cloth and then somebody's making the suit or a dress for you. They're rationing things, but they're trying to do a civilian economy. For Germany is, before the war, they're very much trying to do a civilian economy. When the war starts, there's a lot of, we're right now at 50% war support, which I also think is very wrong because we've taken Paris. But before you take Paris, there's not a lot of war support because the Germans are afraid, is this going to be another World War One? And so the Germany, is trying to go, hey, yeah, we still have this civilian economy running while, World War II has already started unexpectedly soon. And they're doing that, and then, we won. Okay, so now that we've won the war, they're still doing, the, bombing back and forth, Britain's bombing Germany a bit. Germany's really doing an air offensive against Britain. And then, the Battle of Atlantic is raging, certainly. And, we've already got Rommel down here. And about this time. But, a lot of, 1940, early 41, before the invasion of the Soviet Union, there's sort of war out on the periphery, way out in that desert. And we've got a couple of divisions out there with Rommel. We've got, we're occupying in France. And you might get bombed, but, it's the war, the real war is over. So they were trying to do a civilian economy, partially because they couldn't quite say, we're going to go commit national suicide invading Russia again, because every time, whether it's Napoleon or even the German army in World War I, yes, does eventually defeat the Russian army, but still it's dragged into a massive occupation. And we can see other invasions as well. Invading the Soviet Union isn't the best idea, kind of thing. So yes. Let's see what the chat's stating. If you have Chromium, you would be better off using it. Jet engines, high temp. That's very true. That was the biggest problem. German jet engines were very good in design, but they couldn't take the heat. So the number of hours they could, function, turned on was very short. So it makes them not good in the material sense, but as in the design sense for the day, I think they were very good. And this is coming from somebody who's not a terribly great expert on it, but generally does know it. The best source was Turkey. Reduced huge quantity of stuff mid-game a little, but felt a little a bit extreme. My country collapsed, and the others, only a few socialist countries in Russia, but only one Stalinist. My country collapsed, but Stalin was Stalinist, of course. In the Japanese mod about the Axis winning World War II, Stalin is in field hit my dudes. Okay. Free market is without a doubt the most productive system so far. Yes, absolutely. It has its problems. There's no perfect system. And so long as it's still a free market, no one single, because this is what, a lot of people that, especially because, I'm very familiar with the Cold War and the Cold War in Latin America, and I knew revolutionaries, and I knew people who went down and fought down there. And the revolutionaries that I knew that had been down there and come back up to America or come up to America, talked about the evils of capitalism. Well, what they were describing was, oh, well, some dude through his company has the monopoly of selling trucks in Ecuador. So no one else could, like, or whatever. I don't know. I'm just picking this out. But like one guy who owns a company is the only person who's allowed to import trucks into Ecuador. That is not capitalism. That, yes, they're capitalists and that they're people with capital. But, they're complaining about controlled economies with lots of different monopolies within them, or duopolies, maybe two guys that, can import trucks or something, but, or whatever it might be. And so a lot of the criticisms the socialists use against capitalism or capitalists are really not talking about free market capitalists. So, yeah, let's continue down, trying to catch up with the chat here. I do pay attention. I thought he announced was it in 43? Sorry, unless I'm looking up some of the stuff, Plastic Gangster, I'm not always good with some of the dates. We have to invade trading partner. Now rise up, break the storm loose. Okay. Build cruise almost every 10 hours due to lack of government. Absolutely. Yeah, well, protectionism is also an element of it, but it's not protectionism if you don't produce trucks. See, this was importing, and I forget some of the details. Like in Nicaragua, before the communists take over, the Sandinistas take over, it is like that some rich person in Nicaragua will talk to a truck manufacturer and get the dealership for the truck manufacturer to import the trucks, but then get it legally set that he's the only person that gets to import any trucks. So that isn't protectionism. Protectionism is, hey, we produce one model of truck. We don't want foreign competition. So we, whether you ban it or you highly tax the importation of other trucks. So, yeah, that's a bit. Protectionism is protecting a local industry or local active business of some sort, where this is just simply, different monopolies. And this is why I'm not Catholic, but I was going to say our current Pope, but the Pope, he's the one in Rome. There are other popes. He comes from, I believe it's Argentina, so he views capitalism, unlike John Paul II, who was Polish and who went through socialism and viewed capitalism as a very, very good thing. He views capitalism through the sort of Latin American experience with all of these, monopolies and oligarchies controlling businesses and stuff. So he sees it not the way it functions in, North America or much of Europe. So, yeah, they're the sports class. Okay, February 43. Yeah, okay, so it's early 43. I was thinking it was mid-late 42, but thank you, Plastic Gangster. Yeah, I'm not always perfect on dates. Again, I always what I do here, I label historical commentary. I'm commenting on history. If you want good history, get a book, watch a documentary, or sometime, if I, like my mod for Hearts of Iron 3, I've researched all the stuff up and I'm doing my best. And sometimes I will do a historical, still like label historical commentary, but I will look up particular facts that are central points to something, so I get some of the details right. So I'm just sort of winging it here on a lot of the stuff. And I will say this also, his speech to a point is just a speech. In stages, Speer is already moving it into, the total war of the dates. I got it. Freudian slip. I didn't know if it was Freudian slip or autocorrect, but I figured it was autocorrect. We're going to create. Let's select these guys again. Let's see if I can select the general here. And we're going to do new theater. We're going to do, yeah, we'll just leave it there. Do shoals this time. So yeah, please don't go, hey, Gamer said it was on such and such date, so I'm gonna, write a school report or put it in my book or something that because I know I'm getting stuff wrong. Don't always know what it is I'm getting wrong, but I know I'm getting stuff wrong. Let's stop.
Ausrücken! Ausrücken! Befehle! Angetreten! Achtung! Ausrücken! Achtung!
Okay, that will get us sort of moving there. Let's move all of Guderian's force across the river here. Of the Memel area. Okay, the rich people in the army, in countries which has a monopoly over the army, so people to support it by us because they're more of a chance that their coup will work, as most of CIA's dictators are made only, they are only care about one thing, getting support and staying in power. A lot of editorializing there, which is fine. I disagree with what you're saying. Yes, dictators want to stay in power, but I don't know of a single politician I've known politicians, all of the ones that I used to work years and years ago for a congressman, and had dinner with him a lot, and hung out with him a lot, and drove him around a lot, and talked, just chatted with him a lot, and whatever, a congressman. So knew him well. I don't mean just like met. I mean worked in an office, sat around, spent hours stuck in LA traffic as going to someplace. Him and I alone in a car at times, or two or three of us alone in a, two or three of us in a car. With him and whatnot, so just in times just hanging out. So, and I met and got to know a few other because of this other congressman here, but really knew one, really knew him, so so not just a casual. I've met a bunch, some that were presidents, met. Got photos with some of them. And some of them I didn't get photos with, but shook hands with. So yes, including presidents of the United States. So and the one that I shook hands with, I don't have a photo with shaking hands, but I did with Bush the Elder years and years ago. Sort of gives you a time frame. But like I say, I knew one well. One of his the guy that I knew well, primary campaign promises was 10 years in Congress, no more. Only 10 years in Congress, and then I'm out. He wanted to be a Hollywood screenwriter. He had two or three scripts already written. Everybody out here in LA wants to be a Hollywood screenwriter, so that's nothing new. Well, I think he was in for over 30 years. Okay. I talked to him once in the last, well, two or three times in the last 10 years or so. But more like 10 years ago. So I hadn't talked to him. I mean, yeah, and those others were just sort of how you been kind of conversations at a public event. So yeah, no, his basic campaign promise of 10 years and no more, and that's no more. Yeah, so I don't know of a democratically elected, so you can talk about dictators. I'm not saying they want to get thrown out of power. I do believe, because through training course that I had also many years ago, from somebody who worked rather high up in the security forces of the Shah of Iran, rather high up, and definitely knew the Shah. I mean, not saying he was like best buddies with the Shah or anything, but was responsible at times for the Shah's security, so he knew the Shah. I think the Shah of Iran, who, he inherited the job, so is it a monarchy or is it a dictatorship? You can balance back and forth on that one. The Shah of Iran really was trying to modernize his country and was definitely an anti-communist. During his father's day, they get invaded by the communists and the British during World War II. At a fundraiser, I met the current claimant to the Shah of Iran years ago, because of other reasons. I really think the Shah of Iran, however good or bad he may have been, and he may have been an evil dude, he definitely had people tortured. I'm not, definitely, because I know the guy who tortured them. I know, I knew the guy who tortured them for the Shah. He may be an evil dude, but he cared about his country, and he was trying to modernize, westernize Iran, and that's what got him the Islamic fundamentalist revolution, because a lot of people were dissatisfied with his modernization. So, sort of a complicated, I don't right now... Reza, I always think we treated him very shabbily. Yeah, I know I've read about it all. It's just been years, and even the Wikipedia article I looked up for something was a few years ago. I really can't talk well with just the installing of the Reza Shah before during World War II, or the one that was ruling then and coming up. And I know there's the I forget the name of it, an oil firm that was like something Iranian oil that was sort of a British company and whatnot. But yeah, so you can, because like the guy that I talked to, he said it totally, the guy I talked to knew Ayatollah Khomeini because he had him in his jails for a long time and would sit down and have conversations with them in the jail to try to figure out what's going on with them. But he very much to the group that I was being trained as part of years and years ago, not like to me personally, but I was in an audience of less than 50 people, so it wasn't some big thing. But I did talk to the guy about other things personally. But he was saying, we were totally blindsided by the religious right revolting against us. We were all focused on the communist left infiltration that was actively going on, and that's where our counterinsurgency, our anti-terrorist, whatever sort of focus you want to call that on, was all focused in that direction. And that's what this guy was. He ran prisons and ran security elements for the Tehran region and whatnot. I actually forgot the guy's name. I can't remember the name. I'm sort of tried to look it up over the years, but it was just a few days course that I went on and sponsored by people. So I know it's not just because he said it. I know because people sponsored it. I know it's a legit thing. not all. So, yeah, of course they wanted to stay in power, but all politicians want to stay in power. Right, left, center, whatever. I've yet to see someone. I mean, they exist. That after a while leaves without like Louis Gohmert, I think would be one that he's still messing around in politics, but he left Congress, if I remember correctly, and not because he was going to lose an election. He was popular in his district. But there are rare ones that leave while they're still on top, shall we say, still popular with whoever elected them or whatever, or because, retiring because they're, too old or something. So it's a rare thing that we truly see a politician going, yeah, been there, done that. I want to go do something different, and give up whatever direct power they have. Okay, remember that the ruling Middle Eastern state, you have to cut your cloth if you do not torture and imprison. The other side will. Absolutely. No, it's more the world. I'm not, the Saudis are just as bad, if not worse. Yes. This is what I'm saying, and yes. The guy didn't actually come out and say, I don't know if he ever came out and say he tortured people, but he talked about the people he had in prisons. Showed us, because in the olden days, they were slideshows, actual slides and projected up onto the screen. Slideshows, and he was using that to go over and training us about things. Security matters and whatnot, but from a Middle Eastern active perspective. So, it's a really rough neighborhood. And so, I'm not crying, the Shah was evil, he should be gotten rid of. Well, he may or may not be evil. I don't know, because I never really met him. And like you say, it's a rough world. So I'm not trying to defend any of the actions. Well, are you still at sea? Maybe let's go to port. Let's go to Danzig. Let's. How do we keep forgetting how to, okay, right click. No? Oh, now it's move to location. I want to move location. Move to location. Well, oh, okay. Okay, click this button. Oh, it's these guys. Okay. Yeah, you go to port for now. We don't need to burn up fuel. Yeah. Focus where we are. So yeah, I'm not going to try to defend that. Oh, he's some moral paragon, or I want him ruling my country or whatever. But the Shah. But it was just the world that he inhabited. I would definitely agree with that. So yeah. I am a. Let's see what Plastic Gangster says. If we had supported the Shah, would have had a tool, or would have had a tool against the Ayatollahs today. In fact, I very much doubt that Iran would even be Iran. Well, okay. No, because I remember the situation back then. I mean, I remember it happening. The Shah leaves Iran to get cancer treatment in America. He is sick. And that is when the coup happens against him. And there's sort of an early coup and a later coup. the army just crumbles. Either people flee because they realize their heads are on the chopping block, that the Ayatollah inspired the Islamic revolutionaries as opposed to the communist revolutionaries. The Islamic revolutionaries, that they are either are so tied in with the old regime that their heads are on the chopping block. And I don't mean figuratively. I mean, well, whether they cut their heads off or just shoot them, I don't know. But definitely in the, or maybe permanently imprison them or something. But they're definitely in the not going to be welcome in the new regime. Or the other ones were accommodate, or very much quickly decide to accommodate the new regime. I remember, I forget who it was. I really forget who. It was in some interview. It was nothing personal to me, but it was some interview or something that I saw many years ago. Some women who were who had left Iran after the Islamic Revolution, but well after the Islamic Revolution, and they were describing how that they're walking around, in complete black with, their eyes even covered. I mean, they're looking through a mesh thing, and then they would travel around and go to, a friend's house, maybe with their, because they got to be traveling with a man, go to their friend's house and then throw all this stuff off of there, and they're dressed in Western clothes, hanging out with their friends, the women with the other friends, they're dressed in like Paris, not like high fashion, but I think, use something like Paris fashion or whatever, because these are still sort of richish, relatively rich women, and modern. And they were just sort of thinking that, we're going to have to cover ourselves up for 3 or 4 years or whatever, and then people are going to come to their senses and we'll get things back right again, kind of thing. And then I forget who or what it was that was describing this, but then they eventually just got out too, because they realized it wasn't going to change. So that there was sort of, an underground, non-public Western attempt at living within Iran. And they're always living home. I still follow the Twitter account of, I forget, the current claimant of the Shahs. He periodically posts stuff on Twitter, sometimes in English, sometimes in Farsi. So just trying to keep up with what's going on. So yeah, it's when it comes down to it, when that revolutionary comes, I don't really think there's much the West could do. And if the West actually tried to militarily invade Iran, that's going to trigger a Soviet response at the time. And that is partially why you have a lot of Western support for Saddam Hussein, who is trying to do a territorial grab, not trying to take over Iran. I don't even think in his wildest dreams, but trying to, I don't know, get some sort of, something like this, maybe not up there, but right here, and expand Iraq a bit when he thought Iran was weak. And I do think Saddam Hussein's invasion of Iran is why the mullahs are still here today, because they're able to inspire a lot of Iranian nationalism in fighting that war, even though they do it so barbarously to their own people. Human wave tactics. The Iraqis are trying to fight that war smartly. The Iranians are trying to fight that war with human wave tactics and other stupid shit. Because a lot of their very much like a Marxist revolution, a lot of the well-trained officers have either left or are cowed by their version of commissars, because there are whatever they're called, I forget if I ever really knew, but there was a sort of Revolutionary Guard, if you will, commissar element during that war to make sure that they're loyal to the regime or loyal to the revolution, which is Islamic. And so they're able to focus that. Oh, okay, what did you think about it, all our problems with Islamic fundamentalism begin with Islamic revolution in Iran. I do not remember ever hearing about Islamic terrorism prior to the fall of the Tsar or the rise of Khomeini. Well, Plastic Gangsta, have you ever heard of Chinese Gordon and the fall or the siege of Khartoum? And then the later battle of about 10 years later or something, the Battle of Omdurman, in which coming down here, except Israel, I presume you're going down here. That was all Islamic terrorism. The Mahdi, the whole Mahdi thing is Islamic fundamentalist terrorism. So the British were fighting that in the 1880s, 1870s. Yeah, so they were doing that. That's Islamic terrorism. There was a jihad in Islam, so and I would say it was terroristic in elements of it. There was the Mahdi, and then there's the Mufti of Jerusalem. There was a jihad proclaimed and fought. And let's see, there was this guy, his name was, T.E. Lawrence. You may have heard of T.E. Lawrence. Some people call him, Lawrence of, Arabia. Yeah, that was a Islamic fundamentalist going against I'm not, that's, Lawrence of Arabia. Yes, exactly. That was going a jihad against corrupt Ottomans at the time. So we got 19th century, early 20th century going on, but you're right, that was an Islamic rebellion or uprising, but that was against another Islamic group, true, but an imperial power. But it had a lot of the religious flavor of the later stuff, that it was supported out of Mecca, pushing up against the Turks. So, but you're right, it's Iran gives it the base of support. That was the Saudis wanting to... No, not the Saudis, Plastic Gangster. That was not the House of Saud. That was the guy, Faisal, who takes over Iraq. That tribe, the main one, there are multiple tribes. The main tribe migrates and takes over Iraq. Yo, amigo, can you please play Millennium Dawn, please? Hello, Sean Mana. Maybe sometime. Not until we're done with this one. Yeah, Crown Prince Faisal, but he's not of the House of Saud. Faisal is not of the House of Saud. I forget the house that he's of, but it's not Saud. Saud is a different tribe, a different house. Because it's Saudi is Arabia. Saud, it's the House of Saud. It's not Saudi Arabia, the territory. It would be like saying Windsor's England versus some other thing. So it's the royal houses Arabia. Yeah, but meaning it's not the House of Saud. He came from the Arabian Peninsula. That was to become, but he comes from Arabia, but that's includes Yemen and Oman and the whole thing. But he wasn't a Saudi. It just because sometimes people think just because the Saudis end up, because I think again, this is all commentary. I think the Saudis are more from like over here in Riyadh area, where Faisal and crew were from over here in Western Arabia. I think I probably wrong on some of this here. So they were sort of, I think, an Eastern tribe, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know for sure. I start saying too much and I'll prove that I'm wrong. Okay, so we're going to continue with this here. We still got time. Probably not enough forces, but we will see. Okay, you guys join here. Okay, so now we have a little more force to push north. Let's see, deployable units. Nothing really. Oh, did we get... No, or is it still that? And I still... Okay. Yeah, now that we pulled all of our garrison divisions out. Okay, let's see. I'm still not sure the best way to do all of this. Free France, civilian oversight. Okay, we're not going to do that. Let's do at least secret police. Yeah. Vice will come for... Ah, okay, yeah. Good. Yes, that's what the True Seal. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've read anything about it. And yes, I have done more than just watch the really great movies. Lawrence of Arabia, it is a great movie. Okay. Well, we're a problem with trucks, rubber, so which means problem with trucks. We're problem with tactical bombers because we don't have the rubber to build the damn aircraft. Okay. Well, let's look here. Oh, one look here. We want to edit this. We do have anti-aircraft support. I was just wondering to see. Okay, so we do have that. And currently we have enough anti-aircraft. I think we need to put more divisions into training. We could do more rocket artillery, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, rocket artillery looks fun. Don't know, do we have any in production? Yes, we do. Let's go for that. Never noticed that some of the rail lines have little trains moving along them. Yeah, the rail lines, the trains moving represent. You notice they move toward along where there's actually sort of supplies being moved. So it represents actual supply movement. Now that's one thing I either need to go a lot more slowly in playing all of this or have staff officers you can see here we're getting into bad supply situations here and up here, but we have a lot of repairing to do. A lot of this is bomb damage or uprising damage or old combat damage. Now let's move you to the top. Western Mainland. I don't know. This should be played in more detail than what I'm doing. So that gives you an idea of the supply situation, and we're probably going to have problems once we get too deep in here. Let's save this here. Okay, guys, we're going to keep the live stream going, but I think we're going to end this episode here. Just that was the Sea Lion episode we've just concluded with a complete and utter failure of being able to control the English channel, which is what I thought was going to happen, but I wanted to give it a shot, so we tried it, and then I went back to earlier. Let's see, I want to see here. No. No, we're still here. Yeah. I'm going to send any, no shipping's going through there. That's good. Now. Okay, so we have 4 days left until we get some things. Don't mess with the Brits. Yeah, well. The Brits used to be a very formidable nation. Last time significantly they did anything on their own was the Falklands Islands. Has any British leader been significant? Very good. Swedish government has complied with our arrangement. Listed embargo. Good. Okay. Since... Yes, Margaret Thatcher. And obviously you've had lots of leaders since then, but have any of them been significant? Don't know if they have. John Major certainly wasn't. Cameron wasn't. Boris Johnson? Significant? I wouldn't say he's a clown. Nice buffoon. You know, America had the guy with the crazy hair, so Britain decided to get a different guy with crazy hair to govern them, just because crazy hair must be the way to go, you know, following the American fads. So, yeah. Okay, so we now have these guys down here, and we're going to help them out all that we can by basically doing all that we can, which is to send in some aircraft, which is what was done historically. And we're going to come up over here, go for them, and we're going to also send some fighter bombers because we have some of those. And you go up and do ground support. Okay, hit pause because otherwise we'll have a lot of pop, but okay. And they're overdoing, in my opinion, the rivalry between the Waffen-SS or the SS and the army, but that's my opinion. There was some, yes, but I think this is way overdone. Just check something. Just checking how one of the recording things looked. Right. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, good link. Okay, let's start another episode here. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing look at Hearts of Iron 4's World Ablaze mod, and we are getting prepared to go for an invasion of the Soviet Union. Don't know that we'll be properly prepared for it, but that's what we are working on. Okay, let's...
Angetreten. Achtung. Ausrücken.
We're
Achtung.
not going to go everywhere, but... I'm thinking of trying to break out this way instead of pushing down through here.
Angetreten.
And, well,
Ausrücken.
let's see how that looks. Move all that there with some main sort of push element. Okay, this force here, can we... Okay, what we need to do here is click on these guys and add regions here. Okay, back to...
Zuhören.
Okay. 11 days, so 28. They've got big KV-1 tanks. Uh-oh, I'm scared. Mentioning tanks, okay, how many? We got mediums and we have 1,000 support. So what we probably should do is take one of these and is that the right one here? Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go with adding Panzer IVs to the division there. Oh, Malta. Well, let's first see if we can get North Africa. I think North Africa is more important. If we can take out North Africa, then we can see about going after Malta. Okay, well, looks like we're importing 100. So let's get rid of all of our imports of iron from the Soviet Union. Okay. Steel, we are importing a little bit there. We don't need so much, so let's first get rid of that. Tungsten, well, we're thinking about going after the Soviet Union, so let's see if we switch it to Portugal. I'm about to point out in glass houses, Boris Johnson is a strain on British democracy, but you guys had the choice between Trump and Biden. I feel America, if that is the best they can offer you, something is deeply wrong somewhere. The best a great country like America can offer its people is a choice between Biden or Trump. Yeah, in the first election, I did not vote for Trump. But my vote wouldn't have mattered because in California, things are done different in each state. But Hillary Clinton was going to win California, so it didn't matter my vote one way or another for Trump. So I did not vote for Trump because I thought Trump was not going to do well. The second time I voted for him very happily because he kept more promises than any other political leader, well, at least since Reagan, but maybe even more than Reagan. Moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, doing a lot of peace treaties between Israel and Arab states. Trump did a lot of good. He is Boris Johnson is a buffoon, is how I would describe him. Trump is not a buffoon, but he is a blowhard would be a good term. He is a blowhard. He is we're finding out quite a lot of things that people said were lies with Trump turned out to be true. And and when like Trump says, I had the biggest audience for my inauguration in history, and people go, look at there's only half as many people that Obama had. Trump didn't say people standing there in front of him because, see, Trump is a TV guy, and so Trump was looking at all the people watching his inauguration on TV and all the people watching his inauguration on YouTube and other places like that, and probably he had the biggest audience watching him be inaugurated, not in person standing in front of him, but it was the attack media constantly going after him on every little thing that people had such a negative response to him. And yeah, he's a blowhard. I got the biggest hands or whatever. And yeah, he's a blowhard, for sure. But no, hello, none threes. No, this is World Ablaze, not that. Hello, Seaman Dale. How you doing? I am doing very well. I've not yet invaded the Soviet Union, so I'm doing very well. I mean, that's, the death of the German army is to invade the Soviet Union. We're getting ready to do so, but I haven't done it yet. Okay, how many more days? Okay, 8 more days. We get to go. So yeah, I'm, quite pleased with Trump. But yeah, I'll agree that he's, not ideal in a number of ways, but because I can't think. I mean, he there's a lot of problems, but there's a lot worse out there. How are we doing for the air war? Okay, we're now losing it over here. So let's come over here. Let's add in more guys there. Oh, we still have too many guys here. Too many planes, I should say. Northeastern France, so let's move you over to here. I know I did this before, but we had to go back. Give Kruger his divisions. And these guys up to here. I think I have too much stuck down here in North Africa, but we'll see what we can do. What is the best templates for your division to beat France and even the Soviet Union? Because I am having trouble doing good templates. Okay, well, they can vary from mod to mod. I was informed that a width of 30 divisions. It's no, I don't want to train. I do actually want to train more units. Let's add some units here. What I really want to do is edit here. Is it I think is it a 25? Oh no, 30 width division is the most ideal, as it says here. I think I may have done something that narrowed the division. So 30 width is sort of your best bet here. Now so I can't expand this. One thing I've done here with these divisions is made them very artillery heavy. We have support artillery, support heavy artillery, and 3 brigades or whatever you want to call these of artillery here. So that's what I am focusing on. Anything about update version of Road to 50? No, I don't know anything about the updated version. It's been a long time since I played that. I mean, more than a year. So don't know what's going on with current. Do better AT weapons. Well, currently I am producing what AT weapon? Pack 38s, the 50 millimeters. Those are my current best ones. Yeah, I think these would be. Let's see, what are they? What are they calling it here? Artillery. If we do this, okay, well, we got a lot of it. That might be a good option to bring more in. I think all of this would be a regiment. I'm not going to save this. But this would sort of be the regiment of artillery for this division. I think these would be sort of artillery battalions or whatever. Because let's see, what do we have here? Artillery 44 total, or total artillery between this and this, plus 8 heavy artillery pieces. So yeah, I would put probably total equivalent to about an artillery regiment, is how I would see that. So this is what I'm using here with this mod. I know it was at 30 with this setup, but I think one of the things here reduced the width of the divisions. I'm not sure. I think that's what happened, because they had been at 30 for that. Now my armored divisions, maybe I should see about. I see, maybe, okay, well, let's see. Motorized infantry, give them a bit more. Okay, but I'm worried. Okay, got trucks. Guns. Okay, well, I don't think we're going to do more support. Oh, shoot. Damn it. So I just want to click off this here. A towed anti-tank. Yeah, that would be useful. Okay, so hopefully that will be good enough. Now I have some lesser divisions here. Got a few motorized divisions. These guys need anti-tank. So yeah, I think we can do that. So that will be a little bit of help there. We don't have a lot of just motorized divisions. How much civil wars do you want? Spain, yes. Oh God, how much do you want? Yes, Spain, yes. Hello, one Vikata, how you doing? So if you're new here, do you get it? Well, God, how much civil wars do you want? Spain says yes to have multiple civil wars going on. Yeah, during that, I get that. Spain went with that. Yes, I get. At least I generally get it. I don't know. Maybe there's some punchline beneath the idea of the Spanish Civil Wars because there was multiple factions fighting each other in that. If you're new here, you can hit the follow button. Love to have you stay around. Yeah, battalions were like 12 to 18 guns. Yes, I'm not sure because it varies from nation to nation, and I'm just not sure. But that seemed the 44 guns seemed like what a regiment would be. My expectations, shall we say, of what a regiment would be for artillery. Okay, so we're sort of getting ready to break out through Romania here. In June. Oh, did we ever invade here? Okay.
Achtung!
Not enough naval supremacy. What? Didn't I get the submarines coming out here? Oh, come on, guys. They're repairing in Thessaly. Do you want to? Yes, go out here. Because I want to. Okay, yes. Now, Rommel, invade. Go. We can repair after we get the invasion done. Okay, Eastern Lebensraum. Good, 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 good. To be honest, this game, Italy and Greece have a war, and Spain has a civil war. Yeah. Not unfair characteristic there. So we have Eastern Lebensraum, which General Debug. General Staff in charge of planning. Air offensive. Okay. Is there? I'm not ready to press it. Okay, activate Barbarossa. Okay, so we are getting ready to do that. Okay, now I think we are getting ready for maybe the Reichskommissariats or do that 21 days. According to history, had three civil wars. Okay. Because there was definitely, what was it, a Carlist uprising before the big show that, was it that Franco put down or something? Before he gets sent off to the Canary Islands. Yeah, I'm a little vague on some of the early fighting out, and then I know that there is a anarchist sort of breakaway element, and it's a lot of stuff going on. Now, you know, Italy, of course, had in the 19th century, had a massive civil war or war of unification with Garibaldi leading it and ending up uniting Italy. But yeah, that was a big 19th century event. Okay, death of Rudolf Hess. Okay, he died instead of. Well, that would have been better for Germany if had he just died, not been captured by the British. Okay, delete.
Befehle. Bereit.
Now you guys
Achtung.
get on boats and come over here. Oh, the railgun is up here, Arno. Right there. And Spain wants to send us some volunteers. Sure, have fun. We'll take some. Advanced industry, nice. So that gives us
Befehle.
okay, so this is now Free France. This is still, well, this is Hate. Okay, so this is flipped over to Free France. So you come over here to the port. This news, obviously there was the main civil war, and then there were many civil wars prior to the unification between the various kingdoms of Leon, Tours, Aragon, and Castile. I think one might refer to Spanish Bourbon loyalists fighting the French proxy regime under Napoleon's brother Joseph. Yeah. There was very little Spanish units under Joseph. As far as, and I've been reading or listening to an audiobook, and I'm in book 2 that's a series on the Peninsula Wars. Now, of course, it's being told from the British perspective. But from all of my readings including reading all the Sharp novels, yeah, there was sort of a modernist, if you will, anti-clerical support for Joseph and sort of reforming into a modern Spain instead of a church-dominated Spain. But they're really almost no military units of any sizable amount on that side of the equation. Almost all of the army goes it goes against it. So I would really not go with Spain in the Napoleonic era as a civil war. I really wouldn't go that far. That's mine. Can't think of another though. Listening to a book sounds lazy to me. Yeah, well, Trafalgar was against the entire. Yeah, well, but see, Trafalgar predates that. Trafalgar is when it's still the Bourbon king, whatever his name was, I forget. There, no, that was still that was post. Because I think because Trafalgar is in 1805. I think it's 1808 or 1809. I think it's 1809 that Joseph is put on the throne of Spain, but not before 1808. Because when early on in 1808, you have the I know we're off track here, but you have Spain giving permission to Napoleon so that some of his armies can march through Spain to go into Portugal, because Portugal is at that point is not like on, as far as I remember, not so much on the allies of Britain yet, but they were not adhering to the continental system was sort of his term, because he wants to block off all sea trade with Britain, deny it to Britain. And now it never really happens, but that's what he wants to do. And Portugal basically says, no thanks, and continues very heavily trading with Britain. My understanding is Portugal's trading more heavily with Britain than they are with Spain. Because there's almost no overland trade with Spain. It would have been along with the sea as well, and they better paying from Britain, so they were trading more with Britain. So they allow in Ferdinand was the king of Spain at the time. Yes, I'm remembering. So you get the French armies moving around in here in 1808. In around 1808, 1809. Napoleon invites, sort of demands, Ferdinand to come up and meet with him. I think it was in Bordeaux, but it was definitely in France-held territory. And at that point, he is basically taken prisoner. And then that's a big outrage in Spain. And then he puts Joseph on the throne. So that is where we go. Now, listening on books. Well, see, a lot of times I really like audiobooks. For quite a while, I had a job which was at night, and I didn't have to talk to anybody or really listen to anybody for most of it. So I could put an audiobook in for 8 hours or so and listen to that for 8 hours while doing otherwise mind-numbing work. It wasn't terrible work, but it was boring as all hell. But so I listened to lots of audiobooks there. Don't do it as much because I'm not doing that job anymore. But like when I'm in the car, listen to an audiobook. If I'm like actively working on my mod, I can listen to an audiobook and do it that way. So you can do other things while listening to audiobooks, where reading sort of takes your full concentration. Well, the French started these wars everywhere as they were all about republicanism, and they had a lot of support amongst lower classes. Well, you have the revolution. You have, I sort of lump them all in together, but you have revolutionary France, and then you have imperial France. I would say it wasn't so much about republicanism. Definitely early on, yeah, but it's really more about nationalism. The French Revolution really spurs on nationalism in Europe. Is your government the same nationality as you are? Are you ruled by German-speaking Austrian princes in Italy, or are you ruled by Italian princes in Italy? Nationalism is what becomes the big thing, more so than republicanism. Though there's definitely Republican elements there. The long predate the the Republic of Venice. We predate ancient Republic of Venice. Not quite what we think of as a democratic republic, but it's still a republic, a res publica. Come for the games, get gamers spouting off about history. I hope it's fun. Okay, better panzers. We're almost done with that. Yeah, we'll do better. Okay, let's take 2 divisions because we want to come somewhat heavy, but not too heavy because we don't want to take too long to get trained up there. Okay, so we're going to come in and help our Iraqi buddies here and fight the Free French, and so we need to get all of these guys to here. Okay, move that Panzer Division back. Yeah, I don't think I can move too many more Panzer Divisions, but I want one more Panzer Division to get over here. I love history, and I hope people aren't too upset that I've talked about other periods, because I love World War II history. I study World War II history all the time. Basically, although it is actually correct in this on this map here, I believe. So I did look it up. Where's resources here? Where we go? There. Now they have it here, but it's up here. There was a major oil field, which I really didn't know about this until a week or so ago, or a week ago, earlier this week, that they have it here, but they don't have this here on the standard Hoi 4 game, and so I pointed it out to them, and it's gonna, I think, in some future update, because I know who responded to me and who did some other digging. We're gonna get some in the base game. We're gonna get some of the oil moved here, some of the Burmese oil, and it's also going to get done in Black Ice too. So yeah, I really love talking about World War II history, but I talk about it so much, so I really often get distracted getting to talk about, hey, get to talk about the Napoleonic Wars for a few minutes, and so I really want to do it. Okay, what really isn't, I used to limit myself to novels and audiobooks, as though when reading from nonfiction, I often need to get back and forth to remind myself of a person or battle confirming point. However, I made an exception with Shelby Foote's Narrative History of the American Civil War, and it's superb reading. I've been reading it, as reading it had been 15 years before. I would suggest sticking to narrative text with audio. Well, Shelby Foote sort of is a narrative text. Shelby Foote, I know, writes, he does not use a typewriter or a computer. He writes with a I think it's with a fountain pen that he has to reload. So he writes sort of slowly in a narrative style. I have his 3-book collection on the Civil War. I've read part of it, but I did watch the Burns's documentary on the Civil War, which relies heavily on Shelby Foote for that documentary in the Civil War. So I don't, not quite equal to knowing it. Robert, no, not what I'm forgetting is Burns, because I'm thinking the Scottish poet Robert Burns. But that's a really good documentary in the Civil War. So my walls are covered in bookcases that are overly filled with books. I've read probably 80% of the books on the bookcases. So I've read a lot, but just various reasons I've gotten more into audiobooks. Sometimes I've got Toz's books, but I'm re-listening to the General series by S.M. Sterling and David Drake. As a sort of futuristic science fiction, or well, it's actually it's futuristic, but it's with a post-collapse other world. We're trying to rebuild society. A lot of it is taken from with David Drake, which I really like. Unfortunately, I don't know if you know, David Drake is unfortunately retired from writing because of injuries and age. He's within the last year or so, he's basically, posted a farewell because he's having concentration problems, memory-wise and whatnot. I really liked David Drake's work. But on Belisarius and his he's taken from battles and stuff, and he studied a lot of that. David Drake would translate original Greek or Latin to English and do stuff like that for a lot of that period of history, classical era. But Belisarius is re-expanding out Byzantine's borders and that kind of stuff. So, but this is sort of taking some of the overall concepts and putting that. It's far from perfect, but it's cinematic. Okay, yeah. Me too, mate. I have at least 500 audiobooks and 3,000 Kindle books and 4 bookcases, mostly double shot. I have a lot more bookcases. I don't have that many Kindle books, but yeah. So yeah, no, I'm an avid reader. I don't read as much as I used to. The internet and distracts me more because children, I remember the days there was no internet. If I wanted to find out about a tiger tank, I could maybe go to the library and they might have a book on the tiger tank, or I could go to a bookstore and sort of look at it there, or buy it in the bookstore and take it home with me. That's why I have lots of books, because I couldn't look up anything on the internet. So I had to buy books. Literally just read Count Belisarius by Robert Graves maybe a month or so ago for Christmas. Well, I've not read Robert Graves' Belisarius. I have read Robert Graves, not just watched the series, but read I, Claudius and Claudius the God. Now that's probably 20 plus years ago. Robert Graves sort of fictionalized history, but he very much sticks to history with the two Claudius books. So yes, and I have those and some other Robert Graves stuff on my shelf that I have not read. So yeah, no, I know who Robert Graves is. It's good getting known you, plastic gangster. Good to have other people around who have similar interests. Now, one thing I'm a little disappointed with the way Slytherin, they've decided that they want to have sort of a face per game at a time. So I don't know if you've noticed, because I know you watch over there at times. So it's like each one of us that streams there is now just streaming one game, at least at a time. So I don't get to talk about as much various of history, and we're just, I'm sort of, if you will, stuck playing Valor and Victory Stalingrad, though I'm thinking about just deciding to play some other stuff, other Valor and Victory, not because that's what they want me to play is Valor and Victory, but okay, 4 days. And so I really much like when I stream over there, get to talk about the Battle of Crécy, or do something other than World War II, or hey, talk about some Roman battle or something. But no, now they're sort of wanting us to focus down on one game. Okay. Well, guys, we're getting close to needing to go to the invasion of the Soviet Union. And I know I haven't been doing any planning bonuses or anything there. But what I think I need to do, partially to sell it, Barbarossa starts and have everyone see the start of Barbarossa. I think we're going to have to make that the next episode here. So I think we're going to end this episode. Let me save it here. No, that was not it. A save here. Let me hitting load. Save. OP. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, like. If you're on Twitch, please hit the follow button. Loved having you around. Loved hanging out with you guys. So thank you so much. And I think we'll probably end the stream today here. We would get on like House on Fire. My parents were into the series the first time it ran on BBC, and I watched it. Oh yeah. Well, I love that series. So that brought me and read the books after I was maybe 11. I recently brought the audiobooks. Oh yeah, narrated by Derek Jacobi. Yes, and he plays Claudius. Not so good, or not nearly as good, but there is the Cleopatras. I've only found a really rough copy of it on YouTube. If you type it in the Cleopatras, plural, you'll find it. And it's an attempt to do, it was done after the Claudius series of talking about the Ptolemies in Egypt. And I think they get all of the broad strokes, who's king or queen or whatever, and right. They get it wrong in that they're all dressed as Egyptians. As everyone's dressed as Egyptians, but where the Ptolemies would only be dressing as Egyptians once they leave Alexandria, and for a special ceremony, which they did go participate as Pharaoh of Egypt in special ceremonies, that the Pharaoh was supposed to do. They did go do that, and then they would be dressing as Egyptians, but otherwise they would be dressing as Greeks, and doing all the Greek official stuff in Alexandria as Greeks. Two things. Have you read Themistocles, and have you discovered the repeat effect of the audiobook? No, I don't think I have. Definitely not the audiobooks. Theristides. I don't think I have. I'm a bit weaker on some of the ancient writers. I was going to say early on, I got sort of distracted, probably just distracted myself. I'm because we were talking earlier, Stalin, who was maybe gone by now, he talked about dictators. I am a sort of the Aristotelian school in naming governments, as opposed to the Platonic school, in which there is a monarchy and a dictatorship. A monarchy, as he defines it, is rule by the one for the benefit of all. A dictatorship is rule by the one for the benefit of the one. Under, for Aristotle. And Aristotle would have a aristocracy and a oligarchy. It's two separate things. One of those would be aristocracy would be ruled by the few for the good of all, and the oligarchy would be ruled by the few for those few. And then it sort of starts to break down. He never quite gets it right, but he has democracy and a republic. A democracy is ruled by the many for the many, not for all, but for the many, meaning tyranny of the majority. Whoever gets the majority, they rule it for their benefit, not for the benefit of all. And a republic, this is where he gets it is sort of a mixture of an aristocracy and a democracy that is supposed to benefit all. So I'm sort of more or less on an Aristotle base as opposed to Plato, but I've not read a lot of the classical authors, more like reading things like Robert Graves, to give me, I really like good historical fiction. Good historical fiction, and I mean good in two ways. One, well written. I mean, it's fun to read. Two, good in that the history is correct and good. The society, because I read a bunch of books, historical fiction books set in the Napoleonic era, including Sharp. And what those can do is they mix, if it's done well, and there's some authors after a while I gave up on, even though they might be good reads, meaning a good thrilling story, the history was going way off track. A good one will, not only give you like this battle was fought here with these generals, with this tactics, and just sort of throwing in a few fictitious elements to it to sort of be your viewpoint characters moving through it. But they also talk about good ones talk about the society, the culture of the time that it was set in and the world's environment. So it's really sort of takes and mixes sort of dry history but in with the culture. And I think, like I was complaining about the Cleopatras, in which looks and it's all very Egyptian style, which wouldn't have been correct. But I think the general history was good. But where you get, I think, a lot of the proper culture with Robert Graves, looking at the, if you will, the imperial family, if you will. But looking at you get the Roman culture and the Roman attitudes. Now, did Livia really poison all these people that Robert Graves sort of supposes? I don't know. Very well could have, but maybe not, to get our son. Thucydides is a must-read. It's a translation of his contemporary, so modern feeling narrative of the Peloponnesian War. Pan-classic translations is just great if you ever read historical novels. Stephen Pressfield is a military historian book. Yes, I know the name Stephen Pressfield. The Tides of War. I've read some of his work. Yes, I've read Stephen Pressfield. I don't remember the titles of his work, but I remember that name. At least I read some of his stuff, I think, set in World War II. Not joking, it's one of the first historical fiction novels I read, and I have read hundreds. I really, translate you to the classical Greece. Okay, but it didn't... I think Stephen Pressfield, also wrote some stuff set in North Africa, historical fiction. I think that's what I've read of his. If I'm getting the right author correct, Plastic Gangsta. I think so, but I'm not sure. I may be confusing authors. Because, forgive me, but some of the stuff I've read 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So it gets a bit fuzzy over time. So we still have a few people watching. Thanks so much, Arno, for being a really great moderator here. I really do appreciate it, my friend. You make the chat flow so much better, welcoming people. Gates of Fire is about the 300 Spartans. Okay. Yes, Thermopylae. He did something in the desert world too. Yeah, it's killing Rommel. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, that sounds like it. Maybe I might have read his, because I know I've read something on Thermopylae. Because I remember reading about something, because I've watched a bunch of movies and whatever. But the Spartans getting ready for their last battle, and each of them are dressing each other's hair because they have long hair and oiling it up or whatever and getting it all ready to go look brilliant to go out. Trommel Rommel, I gotcha. I'm not a great typer. Yeah. So I think it's like here or wherever, or is it over here? I don't know. Thermopylae, the Hot Gates. Yes, the Hot Gate. So I think I did read his stuff. I think I did. Sorry. Yeah. So I think I did. But like I say, it's been a long time. Okay, guys. Arno and I are going to be playing War Thunder tomorrow. Happy to have any of you join, either watching or playing. It's definitely a participation day for everyone to play, if you want. And sometime next week I'll be doing more Valor and Victory for Slytherin, of course, and be back next weekend. And just those last few here, I'm thinking of doing like a couple days a week, just making maybe like a 20-minute video or something, an update on Ukraine war instead of, it wasn't enough, I didn't think, worthy to do another whole chat talk on Ukraine today, so I just decided to do that. How about enlisted? Okay, Arno. I will try to make sure my game is up to date, and we'll see about it. Now about the Hot Gates is one of those that transports you to the way of life. Yeah, I think I did read that, Plastic Gangster. I think I did, or listened to it possibly. That's maybe one of them that I listened to. And I will say that listening to a book, you don't internalize it as well as reading it, in my opinion. But like I say, because it allows you to do other things, whether you're driving a car or working on a mod or doing something like that. We can see about postscriptum. It depends on who shows up. Like if everybody who's showing up has it, and I, because I don't think, and I don't think he has. We'll see, Starstreak has postscriptum or because he hasn't gotten his new computer yet, or enlisted, but we'll see. We'll see, Arno. We'll see. Maybe a little bit of enlisted. Probably more likely enlisted than postscriptum, but we'll see who shows up. Because I know Eric may be stopping by to say hi, but he's going to go hang out with his grandfather. So we'll see who shows up. We'll see, because I don't want to just me and you play postscriptum and everybody else buggers off. So we'll see what they have to say, Arno. I mean, I really thank you and I want to play with you, but if it's just me and you, but he's not. He's going to go visit his grandfather, Arno. Eric is, so he's not. He's not going to be participating tomorrow. He might be saying hi, he said, but he told me he won't be available. So I know we won't be seeing much of him. So we'll see. Okay, thanks everyone. See you tomorrow, I hope.